Hi, everyone. We're just going to give a couple more minutes to let everybody come in, and we'll start in about 1 minute. All right. So welcome, everyone, to Elevating Your Outdoor Hospitality in a Digital Age webinar brought to you by CampersCard. So we'd love to see where everyone is coming from. It's always fun to see people coming from all across the country. So if you could share where you're coming from in the chat bot, that would be helpful. Also, as we go through the session today, please feel free to post any questions you may have into the chat. We will leave some time at the end of the webinar for the panelists to answer any questions. So I wanted to first introduce myself. I'm Carrie Price. I work here at Harvest Host CampersCard. I have been in marketing for over 20 years and experienced mainly in advertising agencies. But about 5 or 6 years ago, I became a full-time RVer and a Boondockers Welcome and Harvest Host customer, which then I started working with Boondockers Welcome about 3 years ago. And then Harvest Host acquired Boondockers Welcome, and I started working for Harvest Host. I also have a small stint, about 3 months, of being a work camper at a campground in North Carolina, right outside of Asheville. So I'm really excited about launching this new brand, CampersCard, that we'll get into a little bit more. But first, I wanted to introduce our panelists today. First up, we have Maddi. Since joining RVshare 3 years ago, Maddi has been dedicated to raising awareness for the brand in RV travel, managing the company's publicity and brand initiatives. She is dedicated to the company's mission to help travelers feel invigorated by the magic of an RV adventure. Welcome, Maddi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Next up is Sandy. After 20 plus years of working in the software consulting and technology industry, a life-changing event in 2015 led Sandy and her husband to begin extended RV travel in their motorhome. Inspired by her passion for RV life, Sandy blended her RV and campground experiences with her professional expertise in strategic planning, technology, and marketing. Today, she is known as a visionary and an advocate who seeks to build bridges, create connections, and promote the importance of campgrounds to the ecosystem we call the outdoor hospitality. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And next up is Brian. For over 10 years, he has been the business development director for SEPI Marketing. His digital marketing certification comes from the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Brian leads the MySites reservation system and SEPI digital marketing division for SEPI Marketing Corp. For 30 years, Brian has had a successful track record developing businesses to reach their maximum potential. Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you all have such a unique perspective of the industry, so I'm really excited to hear from each of you throughout our discussion today. But first, I wanted to bring up a great new program that Harvest Host is starting called CampersCard. It's our new campground discount and perks membership designed to drive value for both RVers and campground operators. Harvest Host has always been about helping local businesses, and it makes even more sense for us to help local campgrounds as well, which does help local businesses and local economies. So launching next month is CampersCard, which will connect RV travelers with a network of campgrounds that offer discounts as well as perks like early check-in, late check-in, free site upgrades, camp store discounts, or anything else campgrounds want to provide to differentiate their location and entice travelers to book with them. If you're interested in learning more about CampersCard or our panelist businesses, you can find additional information that will be pinned at the top of the chat feature. All right, so let's get into the questions. The need for digital presence is large. And so first up is understanding your audience. So I will start with you, Sandy. what changes have you seen in your audience that have moved businesses to utilize more of a digital presence?
Well, it's been really interesting watching the difference between the last two COVID years and this year, because our booking window extended out so far where most people were booking anywhere from 12 to 15 months out. And now some of my campgrounds are almost in panic mode because the booking window has narrowed to 14 to 30 days. And so because of that, they panic a little bit and they're like, oh, what can I do? I can get these, these bookings in sooner. They're so used to having 6 months worth of reservations booked. And so just that shift from the whole COVID environment into 2023 has been one thing that's really motivated people at my campgrounds to go back and reinvestigate marketing. Because obviously the last 2 years, very little marketing was done. They were as full as they wanted to be. And so that's been one of the biggest things.
Brian, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do. I agree 100% with Sandy. I think that also in addition to that, the consumer buying behavior, if you look at the stats and the trends year over year, is constantly gravitating towards digital purchases. You have the rise of, Amazon, you have mobile users are about 65% of all online internet users. We've gotten to the point now where people are preferring to do purchases through their mobile phone versus doing it through a desktop device. So the shift is continually gravitating towards having a strong online presence. And not to mention the fact that it's cost effective too, if it's done the right way. And what I mean by that is if you have, good organic traffic where your website is getting, free traffic, relevant traffic, I should say, relevant free traffic. And a lot of it is also data driven. It also helps you to be able to determine what your customer base looks like, who it is, because these technologies like Google Analytics, Facebook will tell you what your demographic and your audience is and who's converting at the highest percentages. So there's that on top of the fact that, you have increased competition out there in the marketplace now with, everyone during the COVID years, as Sandy was saying, they're seeing all these bookings and they're like, wow, we got to get into this campground play. And they've gotten in, and some of them coming back from other business backgrounds that relied heavily upon digital marketing, and they're succeeding and they're watching this happen. So I'm just sort of echoing a lot of what Sandy said previously.
Maddi?
Yeah, sure. So at RVshare, an RV rental company, we're definitely looking at people who are renting RVs. So travelers really looking to try out this experience, and then also owners who own RVs and rent out their RVs to make extra income. And one thing we've been seeing in the last years is just how much younger the demographic is getting. And it's families and couples with young kids. And honestly, if you look around at how else they're traveling, it's really, an easy booking process. They're also using Airbnb and booking.com and, traveling on flights, and they're used to traveling and booking easily and being able to make a really seamless transition into finding travel accommodations. And so that really applies to our industry now, where they want to be able to book an RV and a campground and it be really easy and seamless for them to do so. So I think it's even more so important to be online and have that digital presence, because that's what they're used to and that's what they expect.
Yeah, I completely agree, Maddi. I'm glad you mentioned that. We see the same thing, that the audience is getting younger. And when I was RVing a few years ago, I was, this is pre-pandemic, I was the talk of the campground because I was younger and everybody wanted to know what our secret was. And I'm working remotely, but it was a challenge when you're going to call a campground, and when I worked at the campground, we were taking manual reservations and manual credit card information. So adding a website can increase traffic to your business. Brian, how would adding a website or updating a website increase traffic to an outdoor hospitality business in specific?
And specifically, I think it increases credibility. I think a lot of people make decisions off of the online representation of that business. You can tell ones that actually value the information, the content, the navigation of the website, and making it seamless process for the end user. They take into account the mobile responsiveness of it. I just think that your online presence is a clear representation of you as a business, and that's everything from the experience online to the information that's being disseminated. So specifically, I think that having an online presence is just going to help improve your credibility, your online visibility, and it's just going to help people be able to book too whenever they want to book. So you don't have to. You can take bookings after the office closes. And it's just more convenient. So it offers a level of convenience and customer service as well.
So just having an online presence is probably not enough. What if your website is outdated? What are your thoughts on that?
I see it far too often in the campground industry where it's just like it's an afterthought. And if it's outdated, then you're really setting yourself up for failure. You could have, and conversely speaking, you could have the best looking website in the world, but if you're not doing the SEO best practices or you're not marketing the right way, it'll be beautiful, but no one's going to see it, So there's two sides of that coin, but you need to really look at the fact that if you get upset, and what you should look at is, if I go onto my own phone, how long do I stay on my own phone? How long does it take me to get from one page to the next page? And that's your customer. That's what they're doing right now. Again, 55 to 65% of the people are doing their searching and their booking through the mobile device. And if you're not mobile friendly, they're going to be, you're going to lag for about 3-5 seconds, and they're going to be gone after that. And you'll never get them back, and your competitor will, because they've taken those practices into account. So you definitely want to look at it from the consumer perspective and really dive deep into it. Your analytics, if you're not already, you should be.
Yeah, great points. So both Maddi and Brian have talked about online booking. So where to begin? Sandy, you're an expert in technology and reservation systems for these types of businesses. Where does an owner even begin with implementing an online business booking system? And what other advice would you give?
Well, that's a huge topic. Okay, so there's the first, finding an online property management software that allows you to book online, but then there are also a lot of places now that will allow you to book online without even having necessarily the online booking software. So, but for the most part, this is probably the most asked question as I go speak across the country. And so what I tell people is that first they have to understand what kind of identity they want as their park. And that's going to then drive who their guest is going to be. We did a huge study, and it said that of all the new campers across all age groups needed sites that were known and that were desired, or parks that were known and desired. And they defined known as being easy to find on the internet, as few clicks as possible, and having online booking. They did not want to fill out a form. And then desired was that park accurately represented who they were. And that includes who they're trying to target. So if you get somebody who's looking for a rustic camping experience and they land on your park, and you might be a very frou-frou park, right? Then that's not going to be what they're looking for. Or if you have a park that is more catered to long-term stay or 55 plus, and they're young campers and they're looking for the community, then they're not going to have a good experience. And so making sure that the content about you on your website accurately represents who you are and who you're trying to attract is probably one of the biggest things. And so that's where I have them start, because that also drives what kind of property management software they need, because there are a lot of them out there and each one of them has different functionality, all kinds of bells and whistles. And if you're a very basic park, getting the software that has all the bells and whistles that you don't need, all it's going to do is frustrate your employees and your staff, because again, we have a high turnover. There's a training issue. So that's one of the things that I would say. Make sure you know who you are. Make sure you know what requirements you have as a park when you're talking to people, and what your budget is. So if you have no budget, there's still a lot of ways that you can DIY it yourself, right? As far as just the online marketing, but you need to know what you want and who you want to go after. So there's a lot of different ways. I'm not sure if this is the place to go into some of that, but there are a lot of places that you can register your park to drive traffic that are absolutely free. And it's just a matter of taking 10 minutes to register them.
Yeah, so you mentioned some DIY options. What are some of those options?
So when we're talking about DIYing your website or DIYing your marketing?
Marketing. Let's talk about marketing.
Okay, so DIY in your marketing is getting out there and searching, looking at your competition, seeing where they're marketing, and then adapting so that you can see what they're doing and try to replicate that to draw away from them. But there's also places like Spot Tonight is going to be the first online booking partner that's a true online booking partner in the industry. There are others coming along. They're just a little farther behind, but they have a full integration into most of the softwares. They will integrate into your system, right, Brian?
They do. Yep.
And so, but what's really nice about that is that it is absolutely free to the park to have that. It creates no labor overhead because it is a direct integration. And then it doesn't cost the park a penny. And in fact, it actually saves them money in two ways. The first way is if they book through Spot Tonight, but Spot Tonight is paying the credit card fee. So I literally have parks who have put the book now button to Spot Tonight because they're saving $1,500 to $4,000 a month in credit card fees. The second way is in marketing. All these big aggregators, they are spending the money to market to get people to come to their site, and they have a much bigger budget most of the time than the small mom and pop parks. And so you want to make sure that you can be found on those sites. So Spot Tonight is just one. RVshare is another great one. They have an amazing program. I talk about them everywhere I go because they really want to promote that campground partnership. And so when you sign up to be a part of their partner program, they're promoting you. And again, it's totally free. So why not take advantage of it? And you may get campers that you may not get because there's a lot of people still looking into camping that don't have an RV, or they're trying to figure out which one to buy. Or they just don't feel like it's economical to buy one if they're only going to camp 2 times a year. So renting is their preferred method. And then there's other sites that have been around for a long, long time, like RV Life with campground reviews, having your part there, not just having it, but claiming it so that you can respond to people when they put those reviews in there. So those are probably 3 of the top ones that I always recommend.
Great. Thank you so much. So let's talk about creating that repeat customer. Maddi, RVshare has a lot of unique features for your customers. How can a business owner in the field think outside the box to gain repeat customers?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll just start by saying that RVshare is kind of the gateway to RVing for a lot of people. If they're looking into trying RVing or taking their kids for a camping trip for the first time, or like Sandy said, testing out a new RV model that they might eventually buy, they're usually going to rent it first. So the industry is definitely moving towards being very open to renting. And I think if you haven't seen that campground, your campground yet, you probably will soon. And, you know, we have a lot of data around that people are really leaning into this renting idea. And so according to like RVIA, the RV Industry Association, this year out of leisure travelers, like 34% are going to rent an RV, whereas only 20% are really planning to maybe make that purchase this year, really showing that RV travel is trending in the directions for renting. So having open arms and patience for new RVers is the key to expanding the industry. And that includes renters, and when those people come to your property, being open to having them there. One of the amenities that RVshare offers is delivery. Well, the RV owner that owns the RV and is renting it out to a traveler will actually come to your campground and deliver the RV for the renter, so that the renter doesn't have to set it up themselves. They then exchange the keys, do a walkthrough, and then the renter is there to stay and experience their RV trip at your campground. So having a good relationship with these RV owners and the renters coming in, welcome these RV owners to deliver to your campground. So I think showing people that you're there to help and being a local delivery location to them will continue your business. These people live near you and are operating an RV rental business, and being a recommended campground for them will allow them to come back again and again to deliver to your site and continue to bring their renters there. So welcoming those people with open arms is definitely one of my tips for that. Other things I think that have worked well for us and that could be incorporated into a campground is just kind of a refer a friend type of discount or other seasonal promotions. A lot of times people are looking to kind of get that great deal, especially in this economical climate. You know, they are wanting to maybe go off season or find a time where the park's not as full. And those are the people you're looking for too. So offering those discounts or promotions would be really helpful. And then, yeah, other tips I would have too is just like working with your local tourism bureau or CVB. Those types of people in your community are there to help local businesses, and having a relationship with them will go a really long way, and free promotion and also getting those customers in your door and coming back again to stay in the future.
Great, thank you. So I'll ask each of you this question. How do you see the outdoor hospitality industry changing with the increase in popularity of channels like social media, organic engagement, and paid marketing, email database and management, as well as newsletters and email? So there's a lot for a business to manage. Let's start with you, Brian.
I think it's going to intensify. I think that as people more gravitate towards online media, you're going to have tougher competition, people that want to be number one, that are going to do the best practices, or they're going to seek advice of people that know how to do things like search engine marketing, search engine optimization, and other things like that. Even email marketing. You know, you were talking about retention, email and staying in front of people that have been with you in the past, and keeping that communication line open is another great way as well. And it has the highest return on investment if you do it correctly. So that's more of a reason for those of you that don't have a reservation system to go out and find one that will allow you to segment your database to maybe someone who stayed in a particular site type the last time they stayed with you, and make a really tailored custom message for those people. And also personalization. Personalization is going to be everything in remarketing. Okay, your return on investment to get your loyal people back to you is far less than finding new people, although you still need to keep that bucket open and still bring in new people. So what I can say is that going in the future, if you're having not as good a conversion on your website as you did in the past, you want to start really upping your game there. And that could mean a website redesign. That could mean getting yourself on social media and looking at some of the other popular social media channels. For example, Instagram is really a great tool for campgrounds to showcase their amenities and get in front and do the YouTube guides the Instagram guides that they do. Video is really, really big these days. And there's a lot of great services out there that will showcase and highlight your doing drone footages or maybe showing spaces in a virtual type of environment. All of these things are going to just these technologies are going to get better, and more people are going to employ them, and they're going to start building more authority the more in front of other people as they are. So it's again, to say it the fourth time, it's going to intensify going forward. So you do need a digital strategy going into 2023.
Agreed. Sandy?
Well, I agree with everything Brian has said. Plus, I do think it's about word of mouth has always been one of the best ways. And so we just do word of mouth via social channels now. So it is important to do that. Another thing that's coming up that we've all got to be watching is the new AI. And some of you may have heard about, the different chat bots. All they do is go out and aggregate data that's on the web. And whether it's good or bad, if it asks a question, it's looking for that information. And so making sure that you're following up on social media and having content out there is really important. The personalization, again, really important. Brian brought that up. And I think that also goes to, it speaks to the trend that we're seeing, where it used to be years ago, everybody said you had to have good customer service to bring a customer back. And now that's just expected. It's not like some have, some don't, but we'll still go. It is, you must have good customer service. But the word for 2023 that everybody's using is experiential camping. And so making sure that you're communicating what kind of an experience they can have when they come to your park through your social media channels, and then either doing video or pictures or posts that show that is extremely important. The thing that I love about this is that, to me, experiential camping levels the playing field for all of my parks. because almost every park can have or create some type of experiential camping, whether it be a small park that may not have the amenities, but they've got great antique stores around them, and creating that experience where they do a trip into the different antique stores in their area, or being the foodie location, bringing in different food trucks. I love it. I have a friend that has a small park in Theodore, Alabama, and she is known as the queen of customer service. When you arrive at her park, she has a full list of everything local that she believes you should go see while you're there. And so those are the kind of things that if they don't have to look for it themselves, they're getting that local advice. All of those are the kind of things that you can use in your social media that is personal. It's not just a post about, here's somebody that came into our park, but find what the desires are of those campers that are coming in, and then create your posts around those things.
Yes, all good points. I think another thing that is really helpful is looking at what RVers are looking at, what they're interested in, what they're talking about, and then shaping your post around that. But I completely agree. The more personal you are, I think the better and the more engaging people will be with your accounts. Maddi, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. I think, I echo what they both have said. We're all tied to technology and really using it to make purchase decisions. But I think for those that are small campgrounds, especially have a small team, it's intimidating to check off all these on your list. So I would encourage people to pick one. And one thing that we haven't really touched on is like Google business and making sure that you're claiming your business on Google, because I know personally for my trips, I'll map my route on Google Maps and then look at what campgrounds are around there. And if they pop up and that business doesn't have a lot of reviews or pictures or description, and then links out to a website, like Brian said, I don't usually trust it and I'm not going to click on it. And so, but I think claiming that Google business and filling out that profile, including details, is a really simple way to just manage your business and how people preview you on Google. And then another tip would just be, if you're looking at hiring maybe outside help, especially if it's a freelancer or something like that, that can be a really easy way to get some help around these different topics. But I would encourage you to learn a lot about it yourself, just to understand how it's helping your business and moving the needle for you.
Yes, I was actually going to touch on that, how important reviews were, because I know for me, they are very important. And another important thing that I like to see as an RVer is the actual site location and what the site looks like. I know Brian had mentioned doing drone shots of your RV park, maybe some, photos or videos of your different sites. I think that is really important for RVers too, when there's so much out there to look at. If there was any one thing that you would suggest that somebody who doesn't have any digital presence or low digital presence should start with first, because as you mentioned, Maddi, it is overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me as a marketer of all the new things that are coming. What would you suggest that they start with? And I'll start with Sandy.
I would absolutely start with making sure your Google My Business is up to date and accurate. That is the first place people are going to find you. It's the first place right now where RVers go. They go into the Google and they type in, campgrounds near Atlanta. And so you absolutely need to have that. Then the second thing is going to make sure whatever that page links to, that the information is accurate and easy to get to. If you want somebody to book, that book now button better be above the fold, is what we used to call it, right? Don't make them scroll to find it. Think about what you would want. We did another survey, 65% of campers, especially in the 20 to 45-year-old age group, said they had click fatigue because they were so tired of going to Google, searching, going to a website, and then they find out that that park has no online booking form. So now they've spent all that time. Now they've got to go back, click to the next one, go to the next one and find out, well, it doesn't have the amenities they're looking for. And so we need to make it easy for them to see. More is not always better, especially on that first landing page. You want to give them what they're looking for. If they're coming to you from Google My Business because they've typed in something, like
I think we lost her a little bit. The beauty of working remotely.
campgrounds near me, give them the answers. And so you can look at that page and then either do that. One other algorithms again in January. And so if you have Facebook and Instagram and all those, and you put links on your website to those, and you are not posting at least weekly, remove them. Because Google will ding you. If it sees you showing social links, but you're not being social, it will move you down in the search algorithm. So you can still have your Facebook, you can still have your Instagram, and people will find you when they go to those. But if you're going to play the game and you want to show up, make sure you're playing the game across the board.
Yeah, great tips, Brian. What about you?
I would say usually for me, I think that a landing page or a website would be the most ideal. But if anything, a landing page that can get indexed into Google would be the top one, where people can sign up or people can book, or, because everything, if you think about social media, it's going to connect to your website. If you think about your email marketing and your articles are going to connect to your website or a blog, everything kind of your direct traffic, all of those typically will go right into a web page. So I would say, for me, it would be website presence first. Your search engine optimization is a fairly easy thing to learn on your own. But that, like Sandy was saying, if you're going to choose social media instead, you got to make sure you're going to be posting regularly as well, and that sort of thing. And yes, if you're going to have a website and you're not going to post on social, don't include those social media icons at the footer or the header of your website, but try to be as non-verbose as possible, include as many images and videos as you can, and a very quick and easy way for some of them to click on that book now button. And that should be on every homepage, a way to click on that home button, that book now button.
Great. What about you, Maddi?
Yeah, besides those two things, I think probably what they mentioned is most important, but I think then I would probably lean into email marketing almost even before social media, just because it's collecting a database of your customers in which you can reach out to them and communicate with them. And I think, like, for many of the reasons we've already pointed out, whether it's promotions or encouraging them to write a review, things like that, you have a direct line of communication so that you can start building up kind of that roster of customers that you have to reach out to when you're looking to build business.
And I would just add to that too, make sure you're collecting a mobile number, because texting has a much higher read rate than an email, and you can always follow up one with the other. But most campers have no problems giving you their cell phone number, and the ability to text now it's very inexpensive, and it's just a function almost anybody can add into your property management software. And so consider using texting in very strategic ways.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we haven't talked about SMS marketing, but it is extremely powerful. So thank you for bringing it up. We do have a few questions, so we'll start answering them. But if anybody has any questions that's on the call that wants the panelists to answer, we can start doing that. So the first question is what should I put on my campground's website without it being too busy? Which is a great one. Anybody want to take this one?
I will. I mean, put an image of your experience. You were talking, Sandy was talking about experiences and experiential camping and in business and things like that. Something that best captures the look and the feel of your campground, whether it be a video, whether it be a picture. Now, I'm not saying to have a whole gallery on your homepage where you can, see multiple rows of pictures and things like that, but something that kind of grasp the feel of the campground, I think would be, for me, the most important. Second only to, or very close second, would be a booking button, a quick book button. A book button should be, in my opinion, on every page.
Agreed. Anybody want to add anything?
And even more important than what you should put on there is what you should not put on there.
Yes, good point. Which is
old or dated images. Oh, this is a great picture of the beach, so I'm going to use that because I'm in Florida. Because the expectation is I'm going to be on the beach, and then when they get there and it's not a beach, they are very disappointed.
That's a great point. I've seen that all too often. It's it's stock images and things like that. If people really want, to your point, Sandy, really want to see that experience. So what are the panelists' thoughts on asking campers to review their stay at a campground? Does this open the door to get a negative comment? This is a really good question. We covered comments and reviews and how important they are, but it can open it. Anybody want to take this one?
I can take it. I mean, I think reviews are really important. They're always helpful just to get, obviously some user feedback. And if it's positive, it's going to be super powerful for those next customers coming along to book. They get to hear another voice in their real true experience. And then if it is negative, there's always should be an option, whether if it's on your website, you could probably build it out, or if it's on Google or Yelp, etc. You can respond to that and show your customer service and really flex that muscle and showing that you're going to make it right for that customer and whatever the circumstance might be. And so in that case, if I see that and they've responded and seemingly have taken care of that customer, then to me, it's kind of a wash. It's not negative. And then of course, if they're bashing you unfairly, you also have a reason to respond. And at that point, you can kind of clarify maybe what happened with this particular customer. But I think overall, it's almost 90%, if not more, 95% positive for you and your business to have reviews on your site.
I agree. And if you don't allow comments on your website, that's almost as bad as having a booking form where they're going to call you back, because a lot of people will just bounce. And then second of all, it almost ensures that if you don't give them an opportunity to give them a comment, if they're mad, they're going to always want to comment. If it's good, they may not, but if they're mad, they're going to. And if you don't give them a place to put it there where you can respond to them, they will go to other places and campers will find it. So it's really important that you encourage them to post and give you comments there. And the other thing to remember too is, again, people will always say something when they're mad, but unless you ask them, most of the time they're not going to give you a positive comment. And so when you send that exit email or whatever from your property management software saying thanks for staying, it's always a great thing to put something at the very end that says, if you really enjoyed your experience, our staff could really use the encouragement. It's been a busy year. Please, say something nice. And if it's not, please come to us directly. And most of the time people will do that.
And if I can elaborate on that as well, you also have the Net Promoter Score too question that you can give them an access to, where you can get ahead of it before it even happens. So usually with an outgoing text or, an auto text when they check out, or an auto email when they go out, some systems will allow you to put in a link where you can do your Net Promoter Score, where it's either you're not happy or you're happy, and then you can figure out where you fall in between with your customer base. But you'll at least know which ones had determined that they didn't enjoy their service. And that gives you an opportunity to get ahead of that review and try to make things right with the customer before, it goes south.
Yes, agreed. Very much to Maddi's point. I always enjoy seeing, reviews where the business owner has responded to every single one of them, even if they are negative. It shows that they care, that they're listening. So I think always responding is good, even if it's positive. So next question is how active should my business be on social media? Do we need to hire someone to do this? So we've covered this a little bit. Sandy, you had made a point about, if you're only going to post once a week, not so good. So what is the sweet spot?
Well, I'd say if you're going to do social media, I would post at least 3 times a week. And it's very easy to create a schedule for posting. If you take the 7 days a week and then you assign like a category to each of those 7 days, it makes it really easy to follow and create a calendar so you can get ahead of it for what kind of post. We do, Friendly Friday, right? Fridays, we always highlight somebody inside the park and tell you, what they're doing, whether it's a guest or an employee. Wacky Wednesday, the craziest thing that happened on a Wednesday, right? So you can create your calendar and then design those comments around your type of camper. So I think that's one of the first things. And I forgot the second thing.
Do we need to hire someone to do it?
Oh, the hiring. Yeah. I do think that if you are not seeing the occupancy levels that you want, then you definitely need to hire somebody. If you're happy and you're doing well with, 70% occupancy and you just want to trickle in a few more, not a problem. But if you really want to see those numbers being pushed up into the 85–90% occupancy, I would absolutely hire somebody. And I would make sure that they had measurables that we can anchor to, because you want to find somebody who knows our industry, because we are very unique. And then you want to find somebody who is willing to show you the statistics of what they're doing. Because with Google Analytics and all the different things that we have out there, you can absolutely know if what they are doing is actually bringing you traffic. Like what Brian was saying, a landing page is a great way to do this. Most of the property management softwares will let you redirect once a reservation is made to a specific landing page. And so while that PMS may not be able to tell you they got the reservation because of something you did, if they go to that landing page, you absolutely know, because that's the only place they get that link. So you can say, yes, this Google ad actually drove the traffic that actually made the reservation that came to us. And then you've not only got the follow through, but you got the dollars and cents.
Yeah, I agree. We use Hootsuite, which they have a free platform for you to schedule posts, and it'll schedule to all of your channels, and it makes life so much easier. And you just do it once a week or once a month, even if you're only doing 3 days a week, and then your posts are done for the whole month. And then you just want to continually engage with people.
Yeah.
And the Meta Business Suite too is good too, to doing the Instagram and doing your Facebook in one. I do like Hootsuite though, because they do cover more platforms, and we use that as well. So it's relatively inexpensive, but it's pretty effective.
Yeah. Brian, this question is for you. We did just mention the word landing page. Someone had a question: what's the difference between a website and a landing page, and is there a benefit to having one over the other?
So in many cases, you can have both. Okay, so a landing page could be for a specific campaign that you trigger through either an email marketing or through a different means, with social media link that you're doing promotion through Facebook or whatnot, which serves them to a specific page that's geared towards what they saw on that channel, and it kind of carries over that experience to that particular page. So if it's like a Facebook, you could have, oh, well, welcome to our Facebook, whatever, and you can put a specific message there, and then you can have people convert through the landing page. I would say though, my number one priority would be the website, because the website will allow you to increase the different types of keyword terms that you can rank for by including something like a blog. And you can do, you're talking about AI. I mean, if you really are kind of in a bind for finances, you could use the Chat GPT to create your blog content at like nothing. And so, just tell, hey, 800-word blog regarding camping near this, and it'll write it out for you, pop it on, you're good. But it allows you to rank for more things. And it enables you to start building your authority. More people, like usually, whereas the landing page is just for a particular campaign, the website is something that you grow and you develop, and it builds what's called domain authority, which means that as people go there, they're going to start referring you from their website. And these referral links are basically votes on your website that this is an effective website, this is legitimate. And so the longer duration that website has a chance to grow and be online, it's going to increase its domain authority, bringing more traffic and a better ranking in Google.
Yes.
And if I can just add to that, to me, the easiest way to understand the difference between a web page and a landing page is a web page is generally public. You go to the page, there's links all over it, you get to those pages. A landing page has no public link, so you can't necessarily search and find that landing page. You only get to that page because of some type of a campaign or advertising you've done. And so that's how you're able to measure the results.
Yeah, good point.
Nicely said.
So we've talked about email. Maddi, you mentioned email was really important. Is there an easy way to get started building an email list?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way, if you're taking reservations via the phone, obviously just asking for the email, writing it down, putting a list at your check-in desk and adding their email as they check in. But hopefully if you're digital, email is a big part of digital bookings, and you add your email and all your information along with your phone number, maybe your zip code, name, all that stuff as you make that reservation. And so collecting those emails and putting them into a database, there's some great software that doesn't cost that much. You know, there's a few different types of, I'm blanking on the names of them now. If somebody else can jump in if there's you know, some easy email service, but you can pretty
MailChimp.
friendly. Yeah, MailChimp. Thank you, MailChimp. To collect them in there and actually even sort them by, you know, year or type of person they are, whether it's a family that joined you or a couple. And so, and if they prefer to come in the summer, and so you can actually build out those email lists and email different groups depending on what your offering is, and it'll house it all right in there for you. So it's easy to kind of keep adding to your database over time.
And a lot of parks are using WordPress as their website backend, and WordPress has a ton of connections for email databases. It's really easy. Most of them are free, so that it actually just collects it right from your website. But I still really believe that the best way to collect those email addresses is through your property management software, which is why you should be on something that is an online PMS. Because the people are not afraid to give you their email address so that they can get their receipts. And then that builds your email address, your email database quicker and better than anything else.
Yeah.
Also, I would.
Contacts is another brand that I was going to mention.
That's a good one. Yeah. I would also like to say that if you can get involved in your local RV shows. For example, we're members of the FRVTA. We get involved in there. They have a, what's it called? A contest where people sign up to win certain things, and being part of the FRVTR and having co-sponsored this contest, at the end, we get access to the list of people that had the emails for the people in the contest so that we can market to them. They've approved it. It's CAN spam compliant. I mean, you have to remain CAN spam compliant as well, but it's another way to quickly get, you know, a nice amount of emails by doing that. So that's one recommendation that I would give as well.
Good. This is an interesting question, so I'm interested to see how you guys answer it. How do you advertise for a park that's open year round and is almost always at 100% capacity? Do you need to?
I would focus more on PR for the park, just to keep your name at the, you know, top of the awareness, but also focusing farther out, you know, wherever your booking window ends, you could actually focus farther out, because you really don't need to spend a lot of money if you're at full occupancy, other than just name awareness.
Yeah, I agree. I think don't waste your dollars if you're don't need to. I think things like that are free channels, which PR is one of those, where you can kind of continue awareness about your brand, whether that's on, you know, people who write articles about where to travel and stay in this certain region and you're part of that, and or building up your social media presence, because that's free in terms of posting, and just so you have that content when you do need to invest some dollars in that in the future.
Yeah. Maybe it is that, you know, email program campaign to help with those repeat customers, so you're always 100% capacity no matter what.
Yeah. Well, and if you're always 100% capacity, what you need to be looking for is, what are my ancillary income opportunities? Because almost every park now has a ton of opportunities for ancillary income. So if you can increase it by site revenue, you can absolutely increase it with other things, and then you can market that.
What would be those other things?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, if you want to, you know, if your park is nice and you could rent golf carts or paddle boards, if you've got, you know, water, having food and beverage. So even just small things like, there were a couple of really cool things that I saw this week at one of the shows where you could get a container and do Dippin' Dots. Oh my gosh, I was addicted. And the cost was so little. They literally send you the container and all the stuff that goes in it, and then you sell it, and it's so low cost. And so that, if you have sites that you may not like, especially in Florida, some of the places in Ohio, you don't have a sewer hookup. There's some really cool new things that parks can actually buy and bring in that you can then charge for the pump outs. And that becomes this huge revenue stream. So there's a ton of things that we can do. You can do resort access fees because you're going to plan certain things on the weekends, whether it's having a concert or doing an Easter egg hunt or something like that. There is huge opportunity to increase your revenue. And this is also one of the things that goes along with experiential camping. People, especially younger people, they don't want to just show up. They want you to tell them, here's what you're going to do the whole weekend and how we're going to entertain you and take care of your kids. And then they're very happy.
Okay. How should I market my business in the off season? It's a great question.
Oh, market all the time. That's my thing. I mean, never stop marketing. Off season's a perfect chance to hone in your skills and get people are always looking to book in the future. You know, they're not looking to book right now. So you want to build what the future holds for them when they book with you. And that includes your social media, any chance where you can get out there. And if you get a new amenity installed in the off season is a perfect chance to tell people about what they can expect to have when they arrive to your campground during the summer or during Memorial Day, and really start pitching those things up. Always be marketing. That's my philosophy.
Yeah, and I just got back from the Ohio Campground Association meeting, and one of the interesting conversations we were having, those parks are only open 6 months out of the year. And so what's so cool is that they had never really thought, a lot of them, about going ahead and starting marketing right when the park closed. Now, a lot of them want to just leave and go to Florida with Brian. He's invited them all down to hang out with him during those months.
Come on.
But what's neat is, how nice would it be if you could come to your season and know my season is, almost booked. And if you start that far in advance, you could actually create your booking deposit rules so that they make a reservation and they don't necessarily have to put any money down, or they could put a smaller amount down to hold it and make that non-refundable if it's just $10. But once they're committed, they put it on their calendar. So they're more likely to stay with your park than to search for something else. So always getting ahead of it's a good idea.
Great. What are your thoughts about QR codes for reviews or uploading photos to a Google Drive? I assume that they mean like physically at the campground.
I think QR codes, it made its big comeback during the pandemic. So they are a great tool to get people to, jump to a page what you're looking them to go. So if that's reviews, leave us a review. Here's the QR code, maybe at checkout or somewhere that they'll see it. I think that's awesome. I think what they maybe mean about the Google Drive is like collecting photos that people maybe took on their trip. And that's really great for UGC. It's definitely something my team at RVshare is always looking to crack down on, because it's awesome to have pictures of people having the experience at your park. And I think it could work. I think what's probably better is to ask them to tag you on social media, so you get those right on your page. And so you can see those and reshare them if you want.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Maddi, is have them posted on social media and tag you, because when you have them upload to a drive that belongs to you, now you're increasing your liability, because they may have taken a picture of their daughter, but it also included somebody else in that image, and they did not give you permission to take their picture and show it on your website. So it's just better to, be careful and not do that.
Yeah, and I think you could also solve for the review, engaging with reviews in your after email, right? Your post-stay email saying, share about your review. More questions about social media, because I think it's overwhelming for a lot of people, including myself. What social media networks do I need for my campground? Do I have to be on TikTok?
It's going to depend on your target.
That's true.
You have to go where your target is. And Facebook is kind of an interesting place right now. A lot of people are there only because they have years of photos there, and they're not as active as they used to be. And so Facebook is, I don't know that it's as beneficial as it has been in the past. Instagram, however, is really doing well in both demographics. So, and then TikTok is going to be your younger. Now you're going to get a ton of clicks and views on TikTok. You'll see a lot of people that'll have 2 million views, but they have yet to prove that those 2 million views translate through to a sale or a reservation of any type. So I'm watching to see how that's going to turn out. So I work with a lot of the influencers, and they're getting literally millions of views. We're using them for some of the projects I'm on, but I can't really translate what they're doing, you know, for sure, and show that there's an ROI for that.
Yeah, I think Facebook is important to have at this juncture right now, and I think that it's a great remarketing opportunity for, you know, giving, you know, as long as you're making it engaging and as long as people know that they can find something from it. Like if I run a campaign for a promotion for a campground, then I'm going to want to run it through, you know, Facebook and find the audience targeting of that is what is good. In my opinion, I like the type of analytics I get from my ads, and it tells me a little bit about my customer base and who's clicking and who's joining and the followers and whatnot. So I think it's good for remarketing purposes and harvesting those, you know, building your customer or viewing eyeballs, harvesting eyeballs into your content, like people that would actually come and stay with you. So I would say that. I would also say agree with Sandy wholeheartedly about Instagram. Instagram is really, it's a place people can see pictures. They can really get the feel. That's that whole experiential thing that we were talking about earlier. It's a great resource. And the great thing about, you know, using Meta Business Suite is that you can post to them both at the same time, utilizing their planner. So I do, as far as TikTok goes, I think right now it hasn't, you know, as Sandy was saying, it hasn't proven itself to be any form of a revenue generator. But I certainly would say that out of everything, Facebook and Instagram right now, so far, we at least we can prove conversions from this resource.
Same. Last question. And if there's any research or in your opinion, is book now or reserve now? Which one works better, gets more engagements? Or is there another way to phrase that CTA to get somebody to make that reservation?
I haven't seen any research specifically saying where book now or reserve now has, you know, any difference in the response time. Mech Labs is a great place to go for resource. They are nothing but a think tank. And so if you want to learn about how to create good call to actions, they're one of the best places to go. That's meclabs.com. And there are lots of research and content for free. So I would, if you're looking for a case study, that's where you could go to find out. But on landing pages where you might have a longer button, that's where you could really get into talking about what that button should say versus just your standard web page button.
Somebody actually said they did an A/B test and reserve now won over book now 10-1. There you go.
Awesome.
One way to do it is to A/B test.
Right.
Love it.
What I also like to do is look at the big guys too, like the Expedias and the Airbnbs, and see what they, you know, they've done hours and hours and hours and hours of in-depth research. If you just don't have the time, you know, I would see what they're doing and try to emulate that.
Good point. Well, we've shared a lot of information about marketing for both paid and free services. This is marketed by or run by CampersCard. So I did want to mention that CampersCard is also a very good option for you to market for free. There is no cost to sign up for campgrounds, no membership or annual contract. And you can create your own unique incentives for CampersCard members. So that could be discount or perks. It's up to you. We have a network of over 800,000 RVers. So it's a great way to have that landing page where people can find. It'll also be on SEO. And it's a great free way to market your campgrounds. That's it for today. Thank you so much, Sandy, Brian, and Maddi.
Thank you.
We will be sending up a follow-up email to rewatch the entire seminar. Feel free to share it with your campground owner friends. I think there was a lot of stuff covered today that was really important for campground owners to listen to. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye.